good. No, no, no.
Okay, you guys should be able to hear us now. Hello, guys. Test, test, test. I think we're good.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, annyeonghaseyo.
Garbo?
Garbo. Can you hear us now?
Oh
Poggy. He
yeah,
says
all right, all
Poggy. All
right,
right,
all right,
that confirms it. There
all
we
right,
go.
all right.
Well, folks, welcome to Babocast number 3.
Yes.
I am joined
Actually,
here.
2 weekends in a row, Pog.
Yeah, this is pretty pog. Like this could
Yeah.
be a weekly thing. I'm seeing this. I'm foreseeing
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure, for
I'm
sure.
joined by my friend on the left here, I think.
Yes.
Yes, Jonas. Jonas, you want to give a little background about yourself real quick? What's your Korean experience? Like what?
My Korean experience.
Yeah,
Wow,
what?
you're really putting
How?
me out here, dude.
Yeah, how
You're really
how did
putting
you
me
get
out here.
interested in Korean? Because this is a
All
Korean
right, all right.
podcast now.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay.
Yeah.
How did I get interested in Korean? I,
Mm-hmm.
I think I think I have a very different approach than other people, because I learned Korean for the language and not for like culture, and then I learned all the other stuff afterwards. I think
Ah, I
because I'm kind
see.
of a language nerd, you know. Like, I mean, I'm not a language nerd in the sense that I know a lot of languages, because I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I speak like, I mean, I guess I speak like some German, Danish, English, some Korean, some Swedish, some Norwegian. That's about it, right? But I don't know, like, so I learned like 4 years ago. I learned Hangul, right? Because that's like the starting point. That's
Mm-hmm.
like the language nerd starting point. Because it's like Hangul is just, yeah,
Hangul's
it's just
awesome. It's so
great.
efficient. It's
It's
easy to
awesome.
learn.
It's awesome.
It's
Right, right,
perfect,
right,
right? Like more people
right.
in the world just need to learn it. It's just so cool.
That's true. That's true. But I learned that like 4 years ago, and then only in March did I properly start learning in like a good way. Because I used to do my own flashcards like on paper. That doesn't really work that well as opposed
Mm.
to like Anki, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
used to write it down in a book or whatever. But like in March, I learned like 600 words or something. Insane. I would learn like 60 words in a day sometimes.
Yeah.
If anyone watched the original, like if you know Korean study time, which I assume a lot of people do who are interested in that, we were the two first streamers who did this, and there used to be like three viewers. Me, Paul, and Julie. We used to be the only three people there, and we used to like every single day we would study Anki for like 4 hours because lockdown. It was March, so lockdown just started, so no one had to like study, or no one had to like do work or university, right? Because it was just full on lockdown. So I learned a shit ton then, and then after that, I've not been learning like in a good way.
Mm.
And sometimes I'll just like sporadically after 3 months I'll go back and learn the words, but then like you need to really keep it going, you know?
I agree. Yeah.
Uh,
It's very
yeah,
use it or lose it. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I
that's
mean,
mm.
I could right now not do my second job and study instead, right? And I would be like a lot better. But I think it's better to have the money and then be able to go for a whole year as opposed to like having to do all sorts of hustle, you know, when you're there or whatever. So
Mm. Exactly. Exactly.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
And
like
Fry,
mhm.
you can tell your background story.
Yeah, so I got interested in Korean right around September of like 2017 when I was entering college. I was a big League player. All the best League of Legends players are from South Korea, and I got interested in the language because I kept watching these Korean streamers that are crazy good at the game. Speak Korean and stuff, and type Korean in their chat. And I was like, "Yo, this thing's so cool!" So I got interested in that. Started learning Hangul just like Jonas, and Hangul kind of helps progress you into the language really easily, and you start getting on board with it. So I started learning Hangul, and sure enough, I got interested in the culture and stuff. And here we are. I have been taking breaks here and there, just like Jonas and other people. Like taking breaks with Korean is very normal, in my opinion. Like it's hard to stick with the language for like a long amount of time. Like I think taking breaks is a good thing, and
No.
I think with me and Jonas, we definitely have set up a foundation with the language, and it's
Yeah.
really nice. You can read Hangul and stuff like that, and it's fun. You just gotta have fun with language learning. That's my takeaway from
I
it.
agree. I agree, but
Mhm.
I think I still think some people approach it wrong. Like I
Mhm.
don't think you can approach it as if you watch shows or you listen that you're gonna get good,
Yeah. Yeah.
because and I don't think you should start off by just you're not gonna learn a lot by just watching shows. It's like there are some things you're gonna learn, right? Like my sister, she would watch shows and she'd be like, "감사합니다." Like that was the only fucking thing she would know,
Mhm.
right? Like you don't like you need to put it into context, right?
Exactly.
And you can't like if you until a certain point, you're not going to be able to go find a K drama and watch it with Korean subtitles and understand everything and learn everything, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not how it works. There's a certain point where you can do that, and that's really useful. And there's only a couple times where you're gonna have to pause and write it down and learn the grammar or whatnot. But in the start, you're not gonna understand anything.
Oh yeah.
And I've watched a lot of K dramas, but my worst skill by far is listening. I am so bad at listening, and I'm aware of it. But I feel like it's a thing that is for me better to learn later, and then focus on actually having the vocab to understand what they're saying and grammar to understand what they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
and then focus on listening later. Because my listening skills are really, really bad. Like
Me too. Right. So like I agree. Like you need to have a foundation for the language. Like you can't just jump in and like expect to know everything. That's what a lot of people do. They jump in. They say I'm gonna learn Korean solely on K dramas, and they get unmotivated after 6 months because they don't know anything. Right. They don't
Yeah,
set up that
exactly.
foundation, and then they're screwed. Like that's how it works for most people actually, and then they stop learning Korean. But you
Yeah.
do have very few people like you and me and others that will build that foundation, and that's kind of how that's what gets the ball rolling in my opinion. So
I mean, I'll say the best part about learning, right?
mhm.
The peaks of learning Korean is that you're gonna climb, and you're gonna climb, and you're gonna climb. It's not gonna feel like you learn much, and then boom, all of a sudden, holy shit! I just messaged a person in Korean, right? That's like the first thing, right? Or
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe the first boom is like, holy shit! I just went on like neighbor fucking news, and I found a random article, and I don't understand what the fuck it's saying,
Mhm.
but I can read it, okay? And that's the first like boom, and then you're gonna need to climb a little bit, and then all of a sudden, holy shit! I can say I live in this country. I can say I'm cooking right now. I can say I like this, right?
Yeah.
And like, but there's a place in between these like highlights, right?
Mhm.
That suck because you're not improved. Like you don't feel like you improved that much until a certain point, and then all of a sudden, holy shit! I can do this, and then further, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's that progress where you're like
Yeah.
you just get more and more like motivated basically. And people need to
Yeah.
reach that level cuz if they don't realize like, "Hey, I'm speaking Korean now." Like they're just
Mm,
going to get unmotivated, and that's kind of like that's the one part that sucks about like language learning, getting burnt out on motivation, you know? So,
yeah.
you got to stay
I
on
agree.
track. That's
I agree.
that's the main takeaway I'd say.
Yeah. I
So,
agree.
yeah.
But anyone in chat, if you wanna, message or anything, if you have some comment or if you have a question, feel free to write and we'll pick up on it.
Of course, of course. We're always
Um,
welcoming that stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, I mean, just to give some heads up. I mean, I was at my parents the last couple of days. I just got home. I mean, it was my birthday yesterday, so I'm finally very
Nice.
fucking old.
Happy your late birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
My
I'm
apologies.
22 now, so
22,
no
dude.
worries. Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome, man.
yeah.
So did you have a fun time? Like, the cake, all that
Yeah, it
stuff?
was
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, I just,
it's okay.
yeah, no, it was good. It was good. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not like a big birthday celebrator, Like,
Okay. I'm kind of the
yeah.
same way. I feel that like, you turn another age and you're like, all right, it's my birthday again.
And I'm not a kid. I'm not getting like, Pokemon fucking Platinum, and I'm playing it for 20 hours or something,
Right,
right?
it's different. You're like, oh, it's my birthday, cool. And
I got I got a fucking vacuum, and is that what it's called in English? Right, it's called a vacuum, right?
vacuum,
It's
yes,
called a
yeah.
Hoover in English, in British English, so that's why. But
Oh,
that's like a
okay.
brand. It's called a Hoover. But
Hoover.
yeah,
Okay, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. So, but it's kind of like Post-its. Post-its is a brand, but you use it as a general term, right?
Okay,
Hoover is a brand, but they use it as a general term.
gotcha.
Um,
That's
so, but yeah, like I got like bags for the vacuum. I got like a temperature thing. Like it's very adult things, Like,
oh.
and I've specifically also told my parents that I don't really want anything that would like be very big or anything because I'm going anyways in like 6 months. So the more I have, the more stuff I have, the more stuff I need to store, the more it's gonna cost, right? So
Mhm.
I want to have fewer things, and then because I don't know where it's gonna go from there, right? Especially if I like a lot of the big tech places aren't just like that easy, right? Like it's like Switzerland or you know the U.S. or something, and then you obviously it's way too far away to drive. I mean,
Mhm. Right, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
I was just wondering like why the vacuum though? They're just like happy birthday.
Oh,
Here's a
because I have a
vacuum.
Garbo. No, no, I wanted it.
Oh, okay,
The
okay,
one I have is like an old one of theirs.
okay.
So the places I lived, right? So the place I lived half a year at one of my sister's old high school mates, I think, that he
Hmm.
was going to Switzerland for half a year to study there.
Okay.
And so I lent his apartment. I sublet his apartment for half a year.
Oh,
And
okay.
then the next place was also half a year. So the place that I'm living now, which I guess is, I've been lived here for 1.5 years, I guess now. But when I moved here, I didn't like. There's a lot of stuff that I had the other apartments that I didn't have this place. So I needed a lot of stuff. To yeah.
I see.
But actually, here's a fun thing to talk about.
Sure.
In Denmark, most people, I don't know anyone in my class that lives with their. I know one person in my class that lives with their parents.
Okay.
I feel like it's very different in the U.S.
Oh, extremely. Yeah. I mean, oh, it's very common to be living with your parents until, I mean, until
I mean, it's
like
not
20.
Korea. It's not
Yeah,
Korea,
Korea, right? Korea, where you're like with your parents until you're like 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Korea is
Yeah,
the extreme part on the scale.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I noticed that about like Denmark and other countries in Europe,
yeah.
like they just move out like super early. Like
Right,
I'm kind
right,
of
yeah.
I'm a big fan of that though, right? Like you
Mm,
build up your independent skills early, like
right,
like I see
right,
you
right.
as a very like independent person, because
Mm.
I don't know, because of that, maybe because of that reason, I don't know. Like that's
Yeah,
cool though.
right,
Like I like it.
right,
So yeah,
right,
like
right, right.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm still with my parents, so
I
I
mean, it's
still
also an economic thing, right?
yeah, exactly.
Because
Like
a
I'm
lot of
saving
people are
money.
studying in Seoul. If you're studying in Seoul, all of a sudden, like an apartment is expensive. I mean, I will say it's cheaper than in Denmark. That's for damn sure in Copenhagen,
Oh yeah.
it's still. I mean, also the upfront cost. It's like the upfront cost of an apartment in Korea is fucking insane. It's like
It
10
is.
million won.
It's pretty ridiculous. I agree with that.
It's like at least 2 or 3 or 4 times higher than it would be in Copenhagen. But the rent is lower. It's like
Right.
the big thing, right? So
Right.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've done a thing where we looked at apartments a lot.
Oh
That's
yeah. We've
yeah,
definitely done our fair share of looking.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
um.
yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting looking at like housing pricing for like Seoul and stuff and Busan. I mean,
Mm,
um,
But
we've talked about this in the past, guys, but me and Jonas have definitely looked into living options there. I mean, it's a big consideration. Like honestly,
mm,
it's so cool to like think about like living in like Seoul or Busan or something someday. Just even
mm,
for a little bit, right? Like a year or something, right? You know,
yeah,
it depends, but it's cool.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the money back, but it's like I don't know to which rate, and also I guess it's also harder when you're a foreigner, right? Like I'm sure they would, they're probably gonna like play tricks on you if you're a foreigner more than if you're,
Hmm.
not. And there's also all the things about like, oh, are you actually gonna be able to get the apartment? Because you're looking at a platform for Koreans, and yeah, I'm not saying Koreans are racist,
Hmm.
but I have heard about people going to like Japan and then the fucking people will be like, yeah, but can you use the like sorting? Can you sort their trash correctly? And I mean, obviously, Aaron, I know you live in the U.S. and you
Hmm.
probably don't sort like your sorting is very rudimentary compared, but like in Denmark, we have like probably a more complex sorting system than like Japan, right? But or Korea for that matter.
Hmm.
So, but like they have all these reasons for like being reluctant, and that's also I think a good reason to have a decent skill like I would say probably B1 or B2 at least. Yeah, something like in this area.
Hmm.
Uh, like ability, like skill in current. Wait, what? Okay, I need to look at this levels again,
Of
because I
course.
always forget the language proficiency levels. Just because like I don't really work with them much.
Yeah.
Um,
This is pretty interesting, actually.
the is it the ILR scale? No, it's not the ILR scale. There's another scale. It's like the one where it's like A1, A2, B1, B2.
Mm.
Um, Let me just Google it real quick because like for some reason it shows like a different scale. Oh, ABC. There you go.
Hmm.
So base, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like A1, B1. Oh, sorry. A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. I think you're. Are you B? Are you B1? I think you're B1, right? I haven't heard you that much, but it's
Uh-huh.
that's what I'm assuming. Like B1, right?
So like I'm like not even familiar with the scale, to be honest with you. I have. Can you
Mm.
like link me real quick? Like, I want to take a look
It's
at
like
this.
okay, so
Uh,
it's like this. It's like this compared to the oh god, it's been so long. I even
mhm.
forgot the word. What's the test name? I forgot it again. Why did I forget the test name? The Korean proficiency test.
Uh,
Not KIP, but the other one. Topic, 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 topic.
Thank you.
So you know how there's two topic tests. There's topic one, and topic two, right?
Okay, right. Yeah.
So if you score high in topic one, if you score like medium in topic one, you're A1, right? That's the basic beginner level, right?
Okay.
Then you have A2, that's like the elementary. That's if you score high in topic one. And B1 is if you score like, you're still gonna have to score medium, I think, in topic two.
Okay.
It's just like higher. So it's basically like beginner, novice, intermediate, upper intermediate, like advanced, and
Mhm.
like really proficient, right?
Okay.
So and I think I'm probably A2 in some regards. I think I'm like the problem is I'm very mixed. In some things I'm
Hmm.
like pretty proficient, and then in others I'm like really really bad.
Yeah, I would say I'm very like beginner actually, to be honest.
Really, but I feel
Yeah.
like whenever I think you know a lot more vocab than me. It's the big thing.
Maybe. I
Or maybe
haven't
it's
done
just
it in a
like
while, like studying stuff. So,
yeah,
if you don't study for a while, you're gonna forget like a lot of words, unfortunately.
yeah.
But like if
That's
obviously.
Anki. That's Anki for you though. That's what you need
Mm.
Anki for. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything because my Anki has 600 words that I need to practice, and I have like 1,000. I have like 850 learned on Anki, so I definitely should. I need to redo that when I have more time, and I need to just set aside time for it at some point. Just go through it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, right,
but
right. And the way you do your Anki is great too. You got some good settings for it. I mean, I know you helped me set
yeah,
it up, so I got to get back
right,
into it too.
right. I
Anki
think
is
Anki
like
is the ultimate tool.
it really is, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, that's how the method works. Like, you're about to forget a word, boom, here's the word. Get it in your head
Yes.
again. You're gonna forget it, boom, here it is. Like that's how Anki works, and Anki has proven to
There's
be like really useful.
there's a whole algorithm for it because there's like research about like your ability, like spaced repetitions, what it's called, and it's
Mhm.
like if I tell you a pin code today, right, a 10 a 10 a 10 number pin code today, and then I tell you in 4 hours,
Mhm.
and then I tell you in one day, and then I tell you in 4 days, and then I tell you in 12 days, right? It's like the more you like the further you get out, the more you need to like the more you can space it,
Yeah.
and then you can like and then you need to like reinvigorate it in your brain, and that gives so much. And that's basically what Anki does. It just like the thing is there's not a perfect algorithm for it.
Mhm.
You have to modify it because
Yeah.
I think because if I'm learning it like I've been these days I've been doing, or when I was home with my parents I was doing a lot of like Swedish. I was speaking Swedish and Norwegian, but
Mhm.
not with the words because I don't know the words, right?
Yeah.
But I know the accents and how the like a G sound in good in Swedish would be jut, right?
Mhm.
And stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff like that, and so I was doing that, but I obviously don't know the words. But the settings, if I have a deck that is English, and just to give context, Anki basically works like this: you make a deck of words, and then you start with a word. It's like new word, and you learn it, and then it gives it to you in like a couple hours, and then it gives it to you in a couple hours after that, and that gives you tomorrow, and then blah blah blah, right? It spaces out. If you fuck up, well, if you have B2, it resets, but there's some settings to do that.
Mhm.
It resets, and then you have to redo it, right? Or at least it says, okay, wait, maybe we should like be slower with this and space it less, right? That's how it works.
Mhm.
But if I have a deck that's English word, or sorry, Swedish words, right? And if I have a deck that's Korean words, okay. If I want to learn the word uh, uh, like kindergarten, I don't know the word for kindergarten in Korean, so that's probably a pretty bad example.
That's okay.
Um, Let me just okay. So if I want to let's see if I can remember this, but like principle, right? Principle is
Ooh, I forget that one.
uh, uh oh, oh, one sec.
I think it has the
I
word "com" in it. Com something.
no, it has yeah, it has come
Huh.
something something name, and it's the um I think it has something from one sec.
Just gonna look it up.
This is what happens when you don't like. This is what happens when you don't use Anki.
I haven't.
There's
There's several words.
wait. There's a different word. There's a different word that I learned for principal.
Yeah, I looked it
Come
up on.
something him. But I
Yes.
can't remember. Tok. Okay, wait.
Oh,
The
Kyoga.
one for vice principal is Tokum something name or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
Um.
I think I found the
Anyways,
word kyo. Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
you can hear. Okay, this actually proves an example though, because
It is. It does.
that we can. It's very hard for me to remember that. Now let's go to fucking Swedish, right? In Danish it's vice rector, and in Swedish it's probably like vice rector, right?
Mhm.
It's like very similar. So for the amount of time it takes to learn like 100 Korean words, you can probably learn like 2,000 Swedish words, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
the algorithm isn't perfect because it's just like general algorithm, right? So the harder it is, basically there's actually like a statistic for it that you want to
Okay.
go for. You want to have 90% retention rate, and there's a modifier you can do to make it ask you more often or less often based on that. So for example, I think I had like 85% retention. I went in and I did a calculation. There's like a calculation for it. Then you can calculate what that modifier needs to be in order for you to have a 90% proficiency, basically.
Okay.
And
I
then
see.
you can use the modifier. So there's like a whole system for it, and I modified it to work for me the best.
Mhm.
Because the default one asks you, I think, 10 minutes later, and then like 3 hours later, and then tomorrow. But the way I've done it is, I'm just gonna open it up and see what my deck is.
Mhm.
But I think my settings for it is something like, it asks you in 1 minute, in 10 minutes, in 40 minutes, and in 3 hours. That's how mine works. And then it's like done learning, or then it goes to next day, I think.
Mhm.
That's how mine is set up.
I see. Okay. So it's very
Yeah.
specific to you and your learning style.
Yes, but also if it's also depending on how easy a language is to learn for you. That's also like a thing, right? So you'll
Mhm.
find a lot of stuff online is for Japanese. That should work pretty well for Korean, right?
Okay.
Because it's mostly people who are English native speakers, like Germanic native speakers learning. Well, I mean, I obviously Korean and Japanese aren't related,
Mhm.
but they have very similar grammar and they have the same word order and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So,
And words are just as foreign. So
well, I agree with that, right? So, here's another thing I want to bring up real quick before we move on. Like I think learning a language is like a skill. So, if you can apply like learning Korean to learning Japanese, like it's kind of crazy actually. Like you'd be surprised. Like let's say you tomorrow you're like I'm done with Korean. I'm going to start doing Japanese. Like you'd be surprised like how efficient you actually would be at learning compared to someone
yeah.
who's never done any language learning and says, "All right, I'm going to learn Japanese." Like it's actually crazy.
And
So,
also it depends on the way they learn languages, because I've learned German in school and I've learned English like online and whatnot, right? But that's when you're a kid and you acquire it in a different way.
mhm.
But in this context of like actively learning a language when you're an adult, I call myself an adult. I don't know if I, you know, that way.
Nah, you're good.
Look at like actually acquiring a language when you're an adult is very different, right?
Mhm.
And if you asked me before I learned Korean, if I like for me to learn Swedish, I would probably like download Duolingo or something, and that
Mhm.
would just not be an efficient way to do it. Like the efficient way that I know to do it now is just like to find all the words that are different between Danish and Swedish and just put them into Anki. And literally, there might just be 1,000 words. If I go and do 1,000 words, I can definitely do 50 words a day, right?
Mhm.
That's 20 days to learn 1,000 words, and then those words are going to be much more easy to remember because it's like most of them are similar, right?
Yeah.
Like some words are very different. Like boy and girls, like jenta and something I can't remember in Swedish. So I don't know. If you have the right tools and the right skill and like also just know how to motivate yourself to do it, I think those are the major skills in terms of that.
I agree completely. So another thing I wanted to talk about is like, yeah, the Anki decks itself. So like, because I've heard stories of there's actually this YouTuber I watched. I've heard his name, but he learned Japanese. He's pretty much fluent in Japanese. He's very good, and basically he's told stories of himself Like literally, he would lock himself in his house for a year or 2 years while living in Japan, and he said he was flipping Anki cards all day to learn Japanese easier.
Mm,
So like I
right.
think to myself, what if I did the same thing, right? I'm so motivated for Korean. I say, all right, screw this. I'm gonna we're already locked in our houses because of the pandemic.
Mm,
Lock
right.
myself in the house for like a
Mm,
year and just flip Korean cards all day. Like,
mm,
how proficient would you get? Like, that's my thing, right? Like,
right.
the thing with me is I was doing the Memorize website. You're familiar with Memorize. I was doing
Yeah,
Memorize
we use
cards.
Marvel.
Yeah, I was doing Memorize for like, I did it really hard for like 2 months maybe with Paul and stuff. And I think I learned a lot, but I also think it wasn't too efficient. So I'm wondering if Anki does it better, or is the ultimate way maybe living in Korea and absorbing these words as I interact with people and stuff, you know? Is Anki like the ultimate thing, or, you know, is there a better way? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe, like, do you have any thoughts on that? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a mix between a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because let's just take an example, right? Like I've not studied a lot recently, but I have been speaking a lot to Koreans. And so
Nice.
if you ask me to say something in Korean, I'll be a lot more easy and fluent, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
when I was with Kevin and stuff, that was in August, right?
Yep.
I don't know many more words than I did in August.
Yep. But your
I
speaking skill is improved.
I wouldn't be able to say much, right? Also
Yeah.
because I was nervous and shit. But like now, even though I have the same vocabulary and the same grammar,
You have more
just because I'm
confidence.
used to it, I will be able to like much more easily. Also, it's just about rerouting your brain because that's what you're doing when you're learning a language. You're if you the problem is you should never go to a language. You're gonna do this obviously, but your language should never be to go to English into the language. The best thing is just to say like it's just to not think in English at all, but just to think straight in Korean.
I agree.
So
Yep.
like if you're automatically making the connections instead of like trying to think, because the biggest issue with doing that is that Korean grammar is so different that you just can't, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't say I am going, like if you think I am going to Seoul, you can't think about all the words there because you can't translate to. To isn't translatable into Korean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I agree.
it's just very different. And sometimes you just have to rethink sentences. Like I hate people who swim, right?
Yeah.
You would actually just say swimming people hate, like I hate swimming people,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's just the way you do it in Korean, right? And you just have to think, if you train your brain to just think like that and not train your brain to translate, that's how you get proficient in a language, you know?
Yeah, but it takes time. That's the problem.
Mm.
To train your
Yes.
brain to think in Korean and never like translate to English, that takes a lot of time. That took me
Mm.
like, oh man, that took me like probably 2 years of doing that to finally get okay at learning in Korean. I'm not good by
Yeah.
any means, but
Yeah.
to think in Korean and get a feel for the way the words are used in the grammar, that's like your
Mm.
ticket to becoming a lot better.
Yes, but I think the basis of every single thing when you're learning, and we'll get to the comments because I see there's a lot long comments by Phoenix.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. Yeah.
I think the basis, and this might just be my opinion, is just vocab,
Hmm.
because everything else relies on vocab and grammar. But the thing about grammar is that I think also a good way to learn grammar is not just to read a grammar book, because I have a grammar book that will tell me this is the most common grammar,
Hmm.
right? But I think it also is just important to look at what grammar people use,
Hmm.
because just pe- here's the thing: if you message to people in Korean and you just use like basic ass like conjugations, right?
Hmm.
You'll get all of these conjugations that you would never think about using in your own context, right? But that people will use, and you can just Google what it means, and then you'll have it learned. Like,
Yeah.
like for example, an example of this is like I didn't know what like the za conjugation meant, right? Like
Yeah.
kata,
Yeah. Katsu. Yeah.
right? And then someone said it. I mean, no one said kata, right? But like I can't remember what they said, but
Hmm.
it's also, it doesn't matter. But then you Google what does that mean, and and because you learned it in a context, it's also way easier to stick in your brain, right?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Um,
That's how it works. That's the magic, guys.
yeah,
That's
I think,
literally.
but I think that's a little more so with grammar than with vocabulary, in my opinion.
So like, so do you think that you can learn vocabulary easier just by flipping Anki cards, Or I don't know.
I
That's
think
yeah.
I think the best thing you can do, and I still need to. I am 100% sure I haven't found the best resource for this. Right.
Yeah.
I think the best thing you can do is to have a source which has everything. Right. Not listening, not talking necessarily, but a resource which has relevant written material, which uses how people would actually speak, and that you have an interest in translating.
Yeah.
A good resource for that is people writing to you in Korean. If someone writes to you in Korean and you don't know half the grammar and you have to search it or half the vocabulary,
Yeah.
add the vocabulary to Anki, but also just remember that grammar and maybe actively use it. For example, 맛있겠어요, right?
Hmm.
Uh, like this is whole grammar with ket, which means like to suppose something, to assume something, right?
Hmm.
So if you can't just say like in English, if someone sent you a picture of like food, you say, delicious. But in Korean, you say like, you can't say that because then you're just saying it is delicious. You have
Right.
to say like, I think it looks delicious, but you don't use the word look. You just say like, oh, I think it is delicious,
Yeah.
which is like the
Kitta.
grammar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And once you start using, like, once you see someone use it and you use it yourself, that's when it fucking sticks.
Yeah.
It sticks so much when you do that.
I agree with that. The context is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully explained, man. That was perfect. Let's see. Let's catch up on the chat here real quick, and then we'll come back.
Yep.
So Phoenix says he's been learning languages as a skill. Learning languages as a skill caused my high school department head for foreign language learned over 10 languages and demonstrated that one day in a class. That's crazy. So, yeah, that just like further much proves like how good you can train your ability to just learn languages alone. I mean, this guy's saying Spanish, French, German, Latin, Japanese, Chinese. Yeah, like it's such an important skill to have, and I think you can acquire it with just starting off with one language, right? Like you get really decent with Korean, you can translate those skills over to Chinese and stuff like that. I noticed that right off the bat. I took Chinese in college, and I was already doing Korean beforehand. I was already kind of a mile above the other students that were learning Chinese. It was pretty funny how it works. Let's see. Yuchi also says the most amazing part of the teacher, he spoke a whole page of information that was in English, but translated it to the most accurate to the different languages. Like paragraph 1 was German, paragraph 2 is French, and so on. That's pretty impressive, man. That just, yeah, like I said, that proves how well you can train your skill for learning languages.
But I do also want to make a point to that.
Of course.
Is that the sender or the receiver, if they don't know the language, they'll always think you're brilliant, right? Like
True.
you can be making a whole lot of wrong, like you can say so much wrong,
and they'll be like, oh my god, so good.
Yes, if someone asks you like, oh, how do I say this in Korean? I'm like I just say like something that is like it's not correct. I know it's not correct, but I can say something that's kind of correct, and people will just think, wow, you're great, you know? Like
yeah.
Like that's the problem, and that's the problem with like, and I think we spoke about this on the first episode as well about the. I just saw you clap, by the way.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about this on the first podcast about the dude, what is his name? Not Shama. Like I love Shama. Shama's great.
The Chinese guy?
No, the dude, the black guy that learns that speaks Mandarin.
His name's like Lao something. Lao Wai or something. Yeah.
No, Lao Wai is not. That's the dude in mainland China. We're talking about the dude in the black dude in like Ohio or something.
Yeah, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. I know. I know what you're talking about though. I do know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a keyword that's like. I can probably just speak like speaking
something to strangers and they're freaking out.
Yeah, like speaking Cambodian. Speaking Cambodian.
I like him. He's a cool guy.
Cambodian is Khmer, right? Khmer, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Khmer. Speaking Khmer.
What topic are we talking about right now? We're talking about Korean and stuff like that, Ishrock, right now. But we're gonna move on to other stuff maybe in a little bit. Hopefully your day's going well.
Yeah. Damn, I can't remember the dude.
Yeah,
but I really hate him.
You don't like him? Okay, I do like him, but for a different reason.
Yeah, but you think that he adds to people wanting to learn, but you're also giving them an unrealistic expectations of what language learning is.
Okay. Yeah.
And not only that, but he's selling a strategy for learning, which is literally just like, here's a book of the most like common sentences in Cambodian. Just learn to say them, because like most of his videos is like languages that you don't know, and it's for good reason. When he speaks Mandarin, he speaks really well. He speaks really good Mandarin,
Hmm.
right? When he speaks Swedish, I didn't understand him speaking Swedish. When he spoke Korean, it was really like meh,
You could tell his Korean was meh. Like his
because
accent not good.
you just learn the sentences, and then that's it, right?
Yeah, you don't think he
Um,
doesn't think on the language.
yeah,
Except for his
exactly.
Chinese. His Chinese,
His
I'll give
Chinese
him
is
that.
good.
Chinese is good.
Yes, yes, he studied it for a long time,
Yeah.
but you don't get that by all the other stuff, right? Like,
Mhm.
so I mean, I hate that guy, and I think he puts such a bad picture, and yeah,
Mm.
I don't know.
So I'm gonna agree with you
Um,
like on most of that. Like he does paint a bad picture for that, and he tries to sell his like books and stuff, and it doesn't. It's dumb. The main reason I do like him is because he has confidence to talk with all these people and stuff, and he does like a lot of different languages where he learns their phrases and whatnot. So the main problem is he doesn't think in the language unless it's his Chinese. He knows pretty good, but
yeah,
yeah,
but the problem is that like there's this other
yeah,
Dutch dude, and all he knows how to say in the languages are like things he learned from tourists, which is fine, but he makes it. You're not a polyglot because you can speak a little bit, right? Polyglots are supposed to be able to like speak, like be able to actually have a conversation in those languages,
yeah.
not just be able to say like, "Hey, do you want to be my friend? I like you. I like this food." Like mention some classic food from the country, right?
Mhm.
Like you can do that, but you're not a polyglot because of it, and that's the problem. Like there are so many good YouTubers that like speak 4 or 5 languages. Those are way better. Like if you watch someone like Shalma,
Yeah.
he's great because and his content is pretty like, oh, I learned Spanish in a month or whatever. But you also see him literally doing Anki 24/7. He actually shows the process, right?
Yeah.
You watch people like what's the girl's name that's in Japan? She's stuck in Japan. She speaks Japanese and Mandarin.
I'm not
Oriental
sure.
Pearl.
Is she
She's
good?
also she's also. I don't like her video content that much.
Yeah.
I had a comment about it where I was like the title's over centralized, and she was like, yeah, but I have to because it's YouTube, and I was like, I mean,
Yeah.
I get it,
Yeah.
but I think I don't like much of her content these days, which is unfortunate for her.
Yeah.
But her takes are really good,
That's good.
and she's very positive because she's like, you can learn to say X, Y, Z and talk to people without making it seem like you're learning to speak like with it being the start and not the way to do it, right? Like, because I think there's like an optimal way to learn language, and then there's like the way that you learn, which is helpful in the moment, right? Because if you are in Korea right now and you're there for a month, I would never tell you go do Anki and learn how to say like "tokam something" or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck, vice principal is. Like I would never tell you to do that. But if you want to actually acquire the language, that is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Is to go through that process, and I think everything starts at vocab.
I agree with that. Right.
Because if you know the vocab, you just have to search for the grammar.
Yeah.
If you know the grammar but not the vocab, it's much harder to know what to say, right? Because if you know 1,000 words and you know like 5 grammar things, you can still say 1,000 sentences.
Yeah.
But if you know if you and they can be very different. They can be I live in Korea. My house is like you need to just learn like 5 grammar thing. You can say like my house is in Denmark. I live in Denmark. I am a Danish person. My mother's house is in like France or something, right?
Mhm.
And because you know all these different words, you can make a lot of different sentences, and it's actually exciting. If you know 10 words, but you know like beginner and intermediate grammar, it doesn't help you because you don't know anything to enable
You
it.
can't
Like,
express
who
yourself
cares?
well. Yeah.
Like, who cares if you know how to say like I eat rice and then I am able to eat rice and I like eating rice and that rice looks delicious and like because that doesn't like it doesn't really
It's
matter that you
boring.
know that.
Yeah.
So I think like it's vocab and then grammar and then context, and you need all those 3 things, but everything starts with the vocab, right?
Yeah. Just core
That's my
vocab.
opinion.
I agree with that, right? Because you can literally talk like a caveman with your vocab. You can say, you can
Yeah,
literally say
true.
like, I Korea, like. Well, you know, like you could say like dumb like sentences, but you can
Yeah,
still
yeah,
get
yeah.
your point kind of across if you know vocab.
Yes.
Vocab is
Yes.
very important, you know,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
because you can literally like paint a story with your words, right?
Yeah.
Like I know the word for arcade. Like let's say I want to go to the arcade in Korea.
Right.
I want to go to orak실. Like that's the word for arcade. If I didn't know
Mm,
that word, like, and someone says orak실, like I'm not gonna know what they mean. Like,
right.
what are you
And
talking
it
about?
doesn't. And a foreign and a Korean person isn't gonna care if you just say like the place kaja, right? Like you just say that and they'll be like, yeah,
Kaza,
let's do it.
let's
You
go,
know.
let's go.
It doesn't matter if you can't articulate, like if you don't use the correct post positions or something, right?
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest thing is that I could say something that needs to be an object and I can say it as a subject and it might sound confusing,
Hmm.
but in most contexts people are just gonna know it.
Yeah.
Or you can just do the trick and just not even put any post positions
Yeah.
and just have people guess, you know?
It's like facts.
I mean for short sentences that is the standard, but
Mm.
uh but like I mean, there's also the whole space thing, which is very confusing when you read. If you read someone who's like young and on Instagram, and you
Mhm.
read their stories or something,
Uh-huh.
or like the description, it is just a block without any spaces, and you just have to figure out what is what.
Oh god, I
And
hate
that's
that.
and that's fine if you know the vocab, but
If you
if you
don't,
don't, then good luck.
yeah.
So I don't.
Well, that's what I noticed too. When if you try to talk with Korean people, sometimes in text they'll just have no spaces. Just do like a
Yes.
full sentence, no space, and you're like, shit, what does
Yeah.
that mean? Yeah. So,
There are places where it is grammatically like correct to not put spaces.
Mhm.
Like for example, like kolsipta.
Mhm.
It's grammatically fine to use no spaces. I think if you use harkoyo, I think you can not put spaces.
Yep.
There are places where you can do no spaces and it's grammatically correct, and then everything where you just like don't do spaces at all, it's just slang, right?
It's it's
Um,
just a mess.
yeah, exactly. So I
Mhm.
don't know, like, but I think a lot of people, approach it wrong, not wrong, because here's the thing: there's never a wrong way to do it, right?
Mhm.
Like even if you're reading Korean lyrics from a song and you're repeating it, that's not wrong. But there's
Mhm.
just like a scale of efficiency,
Yep.
and I don't think there's anything wrong with doing the problem I have with people learning in less efficient ways is that it's very easy to get demotivated when all of a sudden you don't know how to do shit.
Mhm.
And being able to construct your own sentences is way more motivating than being able to like understand a song lyric or being able to sing a song, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, my writing speed is really fucking good in Korean,
That's
but my
good.
reading speed is like I can maybe listen to like a IU song and sing along, right? But I can definitely not like listen to anything faster than that and sing along.
Yeah. Exactly.
And especially if it's like if there's patsim. If there's patsim, then sometimes it gets a lot harder, right?
Mhm.
Like if you just have like a sentence that's like some word that's just like ta ha ni ku ta, right, or something like that. Like obviously that's easy, but when you have like patsim and especially the patsim with like double and
Yeah, like
also the
factor that
worst.
in. Yeah.
Can we talk about double patching for a second?
Yeah, double
It's
patching
just
is
like
insane.
the problem with double patching is it's one of the only things in Korean that just doesn't have a rule. It's just like sometimes it's the first one and sometimes it's the second one, and you just don't know.
You're just like, yeah. I
Yeah,
hate it. I hate that. I hate that too. It's really annoying. It really
yeah.
is. I hate words
Unless
like
it's like
that.
unless it's like a hit. Or wait, is it here? Wait, how do you even
He it,
say?
he it. No, you were right the first time. He it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Unless
if
it's
it's
like a hit.
then you're good.
Oh, hello, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Also,
Hello.
it's like a hit. I feel like I've never seen double patching where it's the hit. Also, because there's the patching rule where hit, if it's at the end, then go to the next one. Especially if it's like a ticket or something, then it becomes yeah. Like there's a whole rule with that. The patching
Yeah.
rules, but
Yeah, I know what you
uh,
mean. I'm trying to think of an
like
example.
anta, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like ing uh uh wait, what is it? Nigan? Is it Nigan? Wait, Negan? Wait, Nian? Oh, it's
Oh,
Snean,
the
right?
letter name. Oh, it's I
It's
think
been
it's
so long
Nia.
since I've done.
I think it's
It is
Nia.
Nian, right?
Oh, Nian. No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Nian.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then hit, right? And then it's ta, right? And then the hit, like when you have the hit like that, it just becomes like ta instead of like it's not anta, it's anta, right? The hit and the ticket become yeah. There's like all the patch rules and there's like the
Yeah,
whole chart and everything, right?
it's annoying.
But so I feel like I never see hit with that,
Yeah.
but.
Um,
Patching rules are generally fine, but that's the one thing. It's the double patching rule that sucks.
yeah. Once you get to that, you're like, all right, all bets are off the table now.
But it's kind of like a first world problem because you're like, damn, I have to like know this word by heart right now, and you look at like some person learning like Chinese, and they have to know the kanji, just by, like or the hanja by heart, and your problem is that you need to remember if you, like which fucking consonant you need to pronounce in it that it says. Like, I mean, it's a first world problem compared to that, you know.
Yeah.
But there are a surprising amount of double patching. That's the problem.
It is. That is the main problem, indeed.
Yeah.
Good topic on the patchim and stuff and whatnot. I'm just gonna read through chat real quick.
Yep. Go ahead.
So Fan was talking earlier. She said also helps with daily reinforcement. Practice with context of conversation or reading a story in Korean. Something requires you to use your knowledge. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. French textbook was from the 90s, so awkward to use that slang.
Podcast where it's like, yep, I have nothing to
add. That's okay.
No, it's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. All right, go on.
One of my friends says, "What's the topic right now?" Oh yeah, I already answered that. Confidence is key. Yes, I think confidence is key, specifically for speaking. I've had that issue in the past. I'll have Korean people come into the supermarket where I work at, and sometimes I'll be like, "Oh God, it's a Korean person. I know they're Korean." Like I've talked with them before. I'll get like nervous. Like speaking is such like a crazy skill because you need to be confident. You got to have the skill in the first place. You know, like I don't know. I like speaking Korean. It's fun. It's easier for me to do it over Twitch because I'm not actually looking at someone and talking with them and seeing how they react. It's a whole different ball game when you're like actually talking with them in person. So, you know. Yeah. I don't know. I think speaking to me is like one of my favorite skills. I like that. But other people value other stuff. I know Paul values reading, you know. Jonas, I think Jonas you value.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say I think like we were talking about earlier, I think your writing skill is very good. You can type really fast. You can read sentences really good.
Okay, but that's not what
that's how you were getting at. Yeah.
I think for me, because here's why Paul wants reading, right? Because Paul is doing it for topic, right? That's the main thing.
Yeah.
He's doing it to get a high score on topic, and for that you need reading. No one cares if you can speak well or if you can listen well on topic. There's not a listening test, right? Is there?
I think I want to say there
topic
was.
2?
Yeah, I think topic 1 is just writing only, and then topic 2 and 3. Yeah, I think that's how it works.
Yes, but I do believe, but if you could just get a high score in the reading, you'll get enough. Because topic 2, remember, I spoke about the 6 levels, right?
Yeah.
Like you have like A1, A2 is topic 1, but B1, B2, C1, and C2 are all in topic 2, right? So if you just get a middle score in topic 2, then that's good enough to. So if you aren't good at listening, if you're just good at everything else,
yeah,
then you can still get a middle score. And Paul isn't trying to get like the highest proficiency. He's not trying to get like advanced proficiency, right? He's just trying to get like I'm assuming he probably wants like B. I'm assuming he at least wants B1 or B2. Like he wants to pass topic 2.
Yeah.
Which means I think he needs to get like 150 out of 300 points, something like that. Or maybe it's like 120 out of 200, something like that.
Something
I can't
like that.
how many points.
Yeah.
Which is a lot, but he doesn't need to get the listening because the listening is a small part of it.
Yeah. And the cool thing about Paul is like, he does it every day, right? You know?
That's the. I mean, I don't know how that does.
Obviously, like, it's going to be a little harder for him because he is streaming and he does get a decent amount of viewers. So he's going to be chatting with the viewers and telling stories and whatnot. That's going to take away from his studying. However, he is still doing it every day. And that is definitely going to help him a lot for sure.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Very
Um,
impressed with his reading skill. Um,
yeah, I think. But the thing about Paul is, I don't know how. Like, I don't. You can't see how much he understands.
right. That's true. He could just
Because
like lie to us and say, "Oh yeah, I understand this sentence." I mean, he probably wouldn't
yeah.
lie, but
No, I'm not saying he does that,
yeah,
but he
yeah,
doesn't. He doesn't need to understand it in the way he goes through it, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't really know if he understands it. I mean, I assume he does,
yeah. Well, because
but
it's a webtoon too, so webtoons have like pictures, and you can kind of get a
yeah,
little bit of
context
what.
clues.
Yeah, pictures. Webtoons are cool. I like
Yeah,
webtoons, but
yeah, I know, but yeah,
yeah,
I'm bad.
that's okay. So, well, yeah.
um,
Main takeaway is you gotta like understand what you want from like Korean and stuff. Like, do you want to have fun with the language? Do you want to be fluent? Right? Fluent is like a mountain of goals that you gotta, get through. You know,
right,
do you
but
want to just learn how to say annyeonghaseyo? That's easy. Like,
mm,
you gotta find like what level people want to be at. You know,
yeah, I guess. But
like
I guess the thing is that a lot you can't just assume that everyone wants the same as you, which I think I probably do sometimes because I'm a language nerd and I want to be the best I can in a language and I
mm,
want to understand the most
I'm
and
same with
stuff
you.
like that. Like I want to learn how to say like stuff in every language, but maybe like people don't necessarily want that. People maybe just want to learn a little bit or like I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't. It's actually hard for me to imagine because I feel like whenever you get to a certain point, you would want to learn more. Like that's how I feel.
I'm the same
Like,
way.
and I feel like the only time where people would be really satisfied is like a pretty high level. It's
Yeah,
not something that you can't just say, "Hey, I want to understand Korean music lyrics," right? If you want to understand Korean music levels, you really need to like study.
you
Like
gotta
that
put
is
in
a
some
really
time.
high level because you're not and it's much different words than what will be used by just going to the store. Like there's like a certain vocabulary that you can learn just to go to the store, just to buy stuff at restaurants, right?
Yeah,
But songs could literally be about anything. It's much more poetic. Like if you ever seen like tungsten being used, it's only if you're a couple or if it's a song,
yeah.
right? So there's even vocabulary that's just used in songs
Mhm.
and that just has like a poetic feel or that like has good like ability to rhyme, right?
Yeah.
And that if you want to learn that takes so much work.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I like definitely like for me and you, like, fluency would be awesome. Like that's amazing,
Mm,
right? Like that's what you
right,
and me want.
right.
And I agree. I think a lot of people do want fluency, and then they start learning and they realize how much of a mountain Korean actually is to learn, and
Mm,
that's where things start to get wishy washy, and then people kind of get unmotivated. So yeah, motivation is key, and I agree with Fan what she said. Like daily learning is gonna just push up your learning speed a lot. Like, you
mm,
know, I mean, that's why like I'm pretty rusty because I haven't done it in like 3 months, maybe 4 months. I can't
right.
remember. Um, but like all this talk about like talking about Korean and stuff, it's actually like motivating me right now. Like I want to bust out my Yankee deck maybe like tomorrow or
Yeah.
something. Like it's cool. So
Yeah, I know.
um, let me see how we're doing on time. So usually we wanted to do this Popocast for like an hour, but I'm fine to push it over like
I
to an
think we
hour and
did it an hour
15,
and a half.
hour and a
I think we did
half.
an hour and a half last time. So I
Okay,
mean we
yeah,
can
I'm
go
fine
towards
with
then to
whatever.
see what we can see what fits. You
Yeah,
know?
of course.
Um
We've had a lot of good
but yeah, I don't
conversations so
know.
far. Yeah.
The grammar book that I have has a vocabulary list that I kind of want to like get my hands on because
Yeah.
I kind of like the thing, and I also want to do my own vocabulary because in Anki I've just been lazy and I've been using like this the how to study Korean one,
Yeah.
and it's just been like because there's no reason for me to add them manually, but I feel like here's the thing. Also, when you get to a certain point, you don't
Mm.
want to just choose whatever works, right? Because like when you learn like 3,000 words, you learned like what's going to be used 95% of the time. You have to specialize, right?
Yeah.
You have to figure out where do I want to be good and where do I want to be like and where do I not want to put my focus, right? You don't need to learn shit about horse riding, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to learn the words about horse riding.
Yeah.
But maybe you need to learn the words about tech.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to learn the words about like first of all, let me give you the first example of where you need to specialize. The grammar book that I have that is the second level it's all Korean. It's all written in Korean, right?
Okay.
And that was kind of a surprise to me. But
That is
it's
a
really
surprise.
good. But it's really good. But it also means you need to learn a specific set of vocabulary. And obviously, I know some words for like what is like noun and verb and stuff like that. But you need very specific vocabulary to understand this book, right?
Yeah.
So you need to learn that. And
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty hard. Like
I agree with
I,
that. Yeah. There's very specific words you got to learn for just that grammar book you're talking about alone.
yeah.
Like, you know, like the word for noun. What
Let
is
me
that?
just
Like
find it.
Myongsa, like Myongsa,
Yes,
Hyung
명사. Adverb
Hyungyongsa.
is posa. Adverb is posa.
Yeah, Pusa. Yeah, like
Uh,
there's
um, Adjective is
Hyungyongsa.
형용사, right?
Yeah,
And
like
then 동사 is verb.
yeah, Tongsa,
Yep.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're missing any? I can't remember.
I mean,
What's the other one?
I think there are like words that they use that aren't just like direct things that we say in English,
Yeah,
but those are like the main categories, right?
yeah,
And those are actually also useful for neighbor.
yeah,
They're actually really useful because they will actually. I think if you go into English neighbor, it will say noun and adjective, but there's the little description beforehand that's really useful.
yeah, and I'll say
And-
like Pusa next to it or something.
Yeah, or it'll say like saram, right? So if it's like nice, then it might say saram, like, oh, it's a nice person, right?
Yeah,
So you gotta
yeah, you got to know these things, right?
yeah, to be able to read the thing. Actually, a really good thing is Neighbor Sajon, and you just go and you find the sentence.
Yeah,
Because sentence is how people would actually like use it.
Yeah.
Just-
I think their sentences they do there are very nice. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. That is a good tool. I would recommend that tool to anybody learning Korean, actually. It is.
Yes.
Naver, they do it well.
See, here's the thing.
yeah.
Papako is from Neighbor, right?
Yeah.
But the reason he's saying neighbor and I'm saying neighbor is because it's the English. They write Naver,
Yeah.
but it's pronounced neighbor, which is like, I mean.
Oh,
sure.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just weird.
No, it's fine. I mean, you can pronounce it either way. It's just like all Korean brands need to have English text, but also be pronounced in Korean.
Facts. That's true.
But like the thing about neighbor sajan is that you find like you search nice. You find like the word. It says like, oh, here's one adjective, and it gives you like, oh, here's like 10 different examples. You scroll down, idioms. You scroll down, usage notes. You scroll down, meaning. You scroll down, examples, and fan subs. There's even fan subs for people who like it's from songs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have the fan subs thing. Yeah. And it's cool because they add stuff all the time. So the database is only getting bigger. So.
I mean, I don't know if this means that there's 13,000 total,
Mm-hmm.
or if there's 13,000 with nice. But here we have a song where they say nicer, nicer, nicer. Then they say, yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
you can view video. I've never done this. I've never clicked view video, V live.
Yep. V Live. I
And-
know that app. Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then it just goes to that point in the sub. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I mean, Neighbor Sachan is way better than Pabo. But here's the thing about Pabo. Actually, one thing that I really like
Mhm.
is just thinking out a sentence, right? Or trying to confirm what I know.
Yeah.
And just using Papago as a tool for that.
Absolutely.
Like just using Papago to like, oh, okay. So if I like, okay, let's just use an example, right? If I say like, okay, let's just talk about the thing I was talking about earlier. Like, if I want to make sure that I know the grammar for like, then caught, for example, right? Like, which is like it's the same as the gi slash
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
M
Yeah.
thing, right? Yeah. So, but that only applies when you don't. If it's just a general thing, right? Like if I'm saying eating is bad, right? Then it'd just be 먹는 것 나쁜.
Yeah.
Or 나쁘다. Right?
나쁘다.
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you say people who are eating, right? You would just say, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But if you want to say like people who are eating, which is the example I came up with earlier. You use the same grammar, but instead of cop, you just use "shut up," right?
Hmm.
If you want to confirm that you understand that grammar, just go on Papago. Just
Yeah.
go on Papago and just translate and see what Papago tells you.
Yeah.
You can also do the same thing on Neighbor and just find what people are saying. And then you can just go on and if you're right, then you're right, and that's cool. And you could just oh, how do I? Because maybe you're just oh, but so for example, in the start, I was like, how do I have two verbs in a sentence, right? How do you have two verbs in a sentence? There's many different ways to have two verbs in a sentence, obviously.
Yeah.
But if the start, you might be like, well, if I have to end on a verb, then how do I put one in the middle? Because if I say in the start, you might say oh, mok moroyo, not bada, right? But you're like, well, now I have two verbs,
Hmm.
right? And you have to learn the whole making it into a noun thing.
Yeah. You're turning verbs into nouns.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, but it's very hard to get on. So then you're like, okay, well, I guess the best thing to do right now is just go on Papago and just translate it and see how Papago does it. And Papago's not correct all the time,
Yep.
but it's generally gonna be the best way to learn that because you're not gonna have a Korean person to spar with. And the biggest thing about learning stuff with Koreans is that either most of the time Koreans are also gonna want to learn English with you.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
that's not a bad
I
thing.
don't think it's
But
a bad thing either. Some people think it's a bad thing. I'm like, dude, I will teach you English if you want me to. Like, it's not
yes,
gonna bother me, you know. Like,
but I will say that most of the people that I speak to a lot aren't trying to learn English from me, and that's really nice because they'll speak with me, and obviously they'll be good at English, right? Like they'll be pretty good at English
yeah,
already. So we'll just speak, and it will go between Korean and English. We'll
yeah,
switch it around whenever. There's no pressure for me to spend 20 minutes figuring out how to write this complex sentence about geopolitical, social political, problems or something, right?
yeah,
But when I want to say, "Oh, I'm going home to my parents' house" or something, I mean that was a pretty simple sentence, but I'll say it in Korean, right?
yeah,
And there's no expectation. At worst, at normal, it's just two people speaking and having a good time, right? And sometimes I'll just be learning.
yeah,
There's no time where I'm teaching them English. And I mean, obviously that's a harder find,
yeah. It
because
is.
you are going. The major ways to find people who are speaking Korean is to find people who are learning English, right?
Yeah,
Um, but that is also kind of a curse sometimes.
it can be.
Um,
It can be. Yeah,
I mean, efficiency wise,
yeah,
efficiency wise, if you find someone who will literally do whatever, and if I can like a person I'm talking to right now who's like, I'm your son saying, I'll teach you, I'll correct everything you say.
that's awesome.
That's the best way to do it, right? If
Yeah,
someone's not bothering to do that, or if someone wants to learn a lot of English as well, it's hard. It's hard, and it takes more time, and
it is. That's why I
yeah.
think people that go to Korea, they need to make sure they don't get trapped in that foreigner bubble where they're using English all the time. If you can make
Yes,
friends,
yes, yes, yes.
making friends with Korean people that know a little English and you can talk with them in English, that's fine.
Mm,
But they can also sprinkle in some Korean with you. I think
mm,
that's really
right,
good. That's my goal. I want to make Korean friends when I go, so I can learn
right.
practice my Korean more, and I could use my English and stuff, and be funny and whatnot. That's
Yes, yes, yes.
people get trapped in that foreigner bubble all the time, and what you end up
I
seeing,
mean,
you know,
is Paul coming home after a year and not speaking Korean at all?
yeah, I'm gonna be real. That's actually just funny. I'm not even
Yeah,
roasting him. That's just kind of funny.
yeah, it's true.
But that's cool
It's
now,
true.
right? Because now he's motivated to learn Korean. He's like, all right, next
Yeah,
time when I go, I'm gonna know a lot of Korean.
right,
You know.
right. Yeah, true.
um. So yeah, you got to make
But
sure you don't get stuck in that bubble. You see teachers, right? You see teachers go there. They live in Korea for 10 years, and all they can say is "안녕하세요."
yeah, well, I think if you live in 10 years is a different thing. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. I
Yeah,
understand what
yeah,
you're saying.
exactly.
I mean,
So
there are a lot of foreigners living in Korea. Actually, there's not compared to
mhm.
other countries. There's not. It's pretty monotonous, like monotone or whatever you call it,
Yeah,
monocultural. But if you go to certain places in Seoul and stuff like that, obviously, I mean, if you go to other countries, like if you go to Busan or something, foreigner, like being a foreigner is a lot more special than going to like like Itaewon or something like where it's like the majority, right? Like, but even if you go to like Gangnam or something, I mean, it's not like they haven't seen a foreigner before, tourists, and it's not like they haven't seen a foreigner who speaks Korean to some degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still, they're still gonna be like,
And be
I
like,
think it's
whoa,
cool.
who's this guy?
Yeah, because a lot of the people who are like when you see the stats of like, oh, there's like 150,000 Americans in Korea. Yeah, but how many of them are also Korean American, and how many of them are just in the military?
Yeah, military.
Like
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
start to remove those, how many people are like Paul who doesn't speak Korean?
No. That's actually like a really good point. I'm so glad you brought this up because like you got
Mm,
to think like people like you and me who can like we can kind of think on our feet a little bit with Korean. Um,
right.
like we are gonna stand out from the crowd. We're like,
Mm,
I mean, I don't know how far we will stand out, but like you'd be
right.
surprised how many people like live there and they just like they'll just resort to English every time. You know?
Right. And I think the best tool you can have is a single word, okay? Single sentence. It's called 그것.
Yeah.
그것 can literally place so many things
mm,
in any sentence. And it might not be the perfect thing, but everyone will understand that what you're talking about, right?
mm.
그것 means that thing,
Yeah, cook on.
right?
Yeah.
그, yeah. It's just gonna like any sentence you're trying to say about something you just spoke about, you can literally just say like,
That.
네,
I
그것 좋아해요.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
just 그 for that matter. 그
Yeah.
or
Just say
e,
cook.
right?
Yeah.
Because then you don't need to know the word for like flaming hot Doritos and but obviously flaming hot Doritos in Korean is just like flaming hot
아,
Dorito.
도리토스. 프레임 핫 도리토스는. You know what I mean? No, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Just say cookot. I'm gonna do that when I go there. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know.
I think once you go to Korea, like you or me, if Koreans start to realize, wait, this guy actually knows a few words. This guy knows a little bit of grammar.
Okay.
This guy actually knows like grammar. Like they're gonna like I don't know. They're gonna respect you. I think definitely more than someone that doesn't know how to say anything. You know.
Yeah, I agree. But also because of tourists, right? I mean, I think that, and I think it might be a nuisance at some point when you're actually better as well, is like people are always going to start by speaking broken English to you.
Mm-hmm.
That it might become like too much. Like if you're like a white person in China and you speak fluent Chinese, every time you go into a store, they're going to be like, hello,
Yeah.
how are you?
How are you?
And
Yeah.
it's like, and you just say like, well, how I don't even know what is Chinese in Chinese like.
Oh, the word for it?
Ren is person, right? And
Yeah,
then
Jen. Yeah, Ren. Yeah.
Joe or whatever is.
Zhonghua. Yeah, she can say like Donghua
Oh,
Zhen.
Zhong, but isn't it Zhong? No, wait,
Well,
Zhong,
Zhonghua Zhen is like
Zhonghua.
Chinese person.
Right.
Zhonghua. I think it's Wen or something. Yeah.
Okay, right.
But yeah. That'd
Yeah,
be
but
like it.
anyways.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, this is not. Wait, I'm gonna just go. I'm just gonna pop go what.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
Babocast. What would dumbcast be in like Mandarin?
Dumb guy. I don't even know, man. Dumb cat.
Let's see, dumbcast. Oh wait, no. I'll just call that, and then wait, where do I Chinese?
Oh man. That was a hilarious example though. Earlier we were talking about Kogod. You're like, how do you say
No,
flaming
it's
hot
true.
Doritos?
It's true. Oh,
That's hilarious.
야채 예ren or something like that. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, actually, that's one thing I love about Korean. It's just like writing to people in like Hangul, but also
Or
like,
mixing
joking with
Hangul
them, right?
with English.
I need to find this message, but I have to probably go like a bit back to find it.
Of course. Yeah.
But someone said like, what was it? I was talking to someone and wait, I'm talking about some stupid grammar rules. I have this long fucking thing about grammar rules.
Yeah. That's fine. Anybody in the chat, if you
Okay.
want to ask any questions or have any comments, feel free to write them now. We're gonna be wrapping up the show here soon, so. But Yeah, feel free to talk in chat or something. We will answer any questions, comments, or concerns.
I found it. I found it. So I was like talking about calling and like one person speaking Korean and the other person speaking English, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because you want to speak the language you're less confident in, right? Or it's just like a weird power dynamic.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't speak English, and I wrote, uh, and I don't speak Korean.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love it.
That's hilarious. Oh, it's so funny.
And then you know what she did?
What?
She responded in German, and I was like, du sprichst Deutsch, ich spreche auch Deutsch. She's like,
What?
what the fuck? Why do you speak German too?
Oh, that's pretty funny. Who the
Yeah.
fuck is this guy?
Yeah, and then I just played along more, and I said like je parle français aussi, and then she thought I spoke French too.
Oh my god. Dude, that's
I was
actually
like
awesome.
I was like that dude for a second. I was
You're the guy
I
from
was
Ohio.
I was role playing the dude, just going up to like some like French people, like, je parle français aussi. I don't even know how to say more in French, honestly. I should know how to say more in French, but I don't.
That's okay. Oh my
Uh,
god. You literally were the
but
guy
yeah,
from Ohio.
yeah,
She's
I
like,
was
oh
the
my
Ohio
god,
dude.
you're so good at learning languages. Can I get your autograph?
Yeah, yeah. Yes. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Oh,
I want to be your friend. Is
oh.
what he says all the time. Like, hey, can we be friends? I like to learn. I learn by myself and stuff like that. Like I learn at my house. And like also there's like the whole thing about like saying like, because there's many different ways to say things, and that's like a way she would say it, but there's like the correct way, right? Like if I say like 인터넷으로 한국어 공부해요, right?
Yeah.
That means like I'm using the internet to study Korean.
Yep.
And you can say like 집에서 한국어 공부해요. That means I'm studying at my house. But both of those aren't the correct thing to say. The correct thing to say is, I think you just say like, is it tur or tuk? I think it's tukak, right? Tukak?
Oh, Tokak. Yeah, Tokak. Self-study. Tokak.
Is it tok? Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah, with
tok,
like an
'cause
O.
it's-
Tokak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tokak 해요. Like,
Yeah.
that's the correct way to say it because you're saying you're studying at home.
Yeah,
Or maybe,
yeah.
I actually don't know if it's tokak 해요 or if it's tokak으로.
I've heard
공부해요.
Tokakuro. I've heard Tokakuro, so I think it's that one.
Right. I think so. Like you're studying by self-studying. Or no, I think you use it with peoda. I think you use it with peoda, actually. I think the best way to say it is probably 톡학으로 톡학으로 한국어를 배워요. I think it's the most appropriate way to say it.
Okay. Or you could say like what? Tokakuro 배우는 거 좋아해요 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you could.
That's true. Wait,
Yeah.
did you say?
I like using. I like studying. I like learning
Yeah.
using self-study.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could say like 배우는 거 or 배우기. I like using 기 better, but
Okay, so here's the thing.
yeah.
I used to write a lot of like ki and
You swap over.
but nunkot is apparently just like way more common.
Really? Okay. Because I've heard
Yes.
gi is common too, but
Yeah, but I
Okay.
think it's first of all it's more formal.
yeah.
But I think it's like, okay, wait, let me just actually search this. Like let's have this be the last thing, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
Nunkot versus ki m. Because okay, so the whole thing about using mayem and ki is just or I guess it would be like or ki, right?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between using those two, the last two, right, is I'm pretty sure it's literally just if it has a patsim or not. If it has a patsim, use ki. If it doesn't, use because
Mm-hmm.
I think like yeah. Wait, I need to think of an example real quick.
Yeah.
Like for example, let me just think real quick. I think, for example, if you say jam, right? Jam, for example.
Yep.
Jam
Sleep.
doesn't have a patim, so you say mim. You put right?
But
But-
yep.
But if you have a patim, I'm pretty sure you use ki. It's generally the rule I've seen. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
My book said that using im is a lot less common, I've heard. People still use
yes,
it obviously, but it's
yes.
im is used more for just like making like the noun form of it. So like what's the
Mm,
verb to die is tukta. So you see the word tukum, they add im to it to mean death, right? So they add
right.
that a lot to just make like that noun. Um
Yes, and I think, yeah, maybe that's the situation.
yeah, but I know
But I
yeah.
think, but when you make it into a noun, it also just means both the ing form and just the thing
Yeah,
itself.
so
Like,
it's like both. It's weird, but yeah.
because if you say dumb, it actually means sleep, but also means sleeping, right? It's the
Technically,
weird thing.
yes. It's just really weird.
Uh, but it's just because there's no differentiation, you know?
Yeah.
If you ever hear a Korean person speaking English, they'll say, I love Denmark people. I
Yeah.
love Denmark food. Because in Korean, there is no concept that is Korean people.
Korean food, Korean, yeah.
Right. Because you don't say like, you just say 한국 사람, right?
Yeah, you don't
You
say,
don't, there's
yeah.
nothing, yeah.
You don't say 한국인 사람, you
Or
just say
한국의 사람.
yeah, exactly.
Because you don't say like people of Korea is like a really weird way to say it,
That
you
is a
know?
real weird.
It sounds so formal.
People of Korea, I love you. Like, yeah, it's like,
You know what that reminds me of?
yeah.
Have you seen the dude Bart? There's like a dude that made covers of songs on YouTube that are like really edgy, called like Bart Baker.
Bard Baker. I never heard of that,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now he's on like the Chinese TikTok. He moved to China
Really?
and he like does Chinese TikToks. And what he does is he doesn't know Chinese. He just goes on. He just takes like the lyrics that they gave him. They translate him. That he translates them into English, and he like tries to make it somehow sound English, and he does it over the original melody, and it's so horrible. It's so horrible, but
Oh,
apparently he has like insane amount of followers. Like,
damn.
yeah.
Damn, that's funny if he has a lot of followers.
I mean, let me just find it real quick. Can I? Can you wait? Can you go on Douyin, which is what it's called? It's like the
Duyan?
Chinese TikTok, but can you go on it?
Uh,
From like the West.
you should be able to. I don't see why they would block it.
Yeah, but do you literally just go to TikTok or do you like uh
Duyan, oh, this is weird. Oh, so I think you can't even get it on the Android Play Store. You literally have to like download it from like a secondary source.
yes, but
That
there
makes
should just be a website, right? Okay, let's see. Well, Bart Baker has 5 million followers on
5 million. That wow, okay. Oh, TikTok, known as China and Douyin. Oh, so it's like the same thing. It's just a different name. Okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I can see it here.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Huh.
Okay, you can watch a video for him, you know. I mean, I'm not
I should. I want to see this now.
Okay, well, you
Let me
should
show
check
this on
this.
screen.
Yeah,
Hold
do
on. Let
that.
me do the screen share thing. Hopefully this works.
But just play the most recent one because I don't think the other ones are actually. Oh wait, they are.
Can you link me? Or do you want to show it on your screen? I can just show your screen instead. You want to do that?
Sure, we
Yeah.
can do that.
Okay.
Share screen.
Yeah, share your screen. I want to see this.
Bart Baker. Okay, I think there's like a setting for audio, but I think it's enabled. Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear this.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it. We're good.
All right. He also doesn't know how to speak Chinese.
Oh my god, dude, this guy.
But it's even worse when it's like proper lyrics like this. Because he translated these lyrics.
Oh my.
If the clouds are a letter from the sky, can you read it so I can hear you one more time? Just for the journey.
Dude, this guy. Oh my god.
I don't use TikToks. Okay, I guess okay, these are like old shit.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing on YouTube with like what's it called? Bart Baker TikTok. Like this, like Vice made a thing about him, I think, right? Yeah, Vice made a thing about it.
Oh my god.
I think he's in LA now because of COVID.
Okay, he's not even in China right now. Okay.
Maybe import it.
But there's a no, he is in China now, I think.
Okay.
This is an old video. This is an old video.
Red dust.
Like
yeah.
he look at this, right? He's just like taking this. He's like, red dust rolling deep love.
Red dust.
He doesn't know what red dust is.
Red dust
Yeah.
in these lyrics.
Cause like the translate.
Holy.
This dude is basically call him like stupid. The fucking dude from like his partner.
But in was for you. And some of Bart's biggest hits so far are patriotic songs about China.
Do you ever worry that Bart might say what's wrong yet?
我有担心啊，我很担心啊，因为我怕他哪天非常火了以后，中国的人把他的 YouTube 的视频拿过来，哦，把他的 battle 接在市场，然后一家。
It's like a thing with him.
Oh my god. Is that how he films it? What?
I guess.
He tapes his phone to the fucking
It's kind
laptop.
of pog. Also, they just like add the fucking Chinese flag. You know, they just Photoshop. On like and he's filming it in the middle of LA.
That's a wrap. A lot easier than YouTube video.
Oh my god, dude. This guy.
Wait, they made a new one?
I now
Is this
have
4?
no
Oh no. It's yes. What?
amount of 0. Nothing.
Holy shit. I remember seeing the original videos. That's how I originally found out about it. But
Yeah.
apparently it's like a new video about what happened to him. Is he not in
lost
China
everything?
anymore or something?
Yeah.
Damn, I don't know. Damn, I have to watch this video later, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say pan what. Hello guys, it's me, Bart Baker. I finally bought a plane ticket to go back to America. I'm going home for Christmas. But because of the pan, I'm not gonna say pan what. Pan something.
He's gonna stay?
Demonetize me. Pan something. It could be I might not be able to come back to China. Even when I do, it will be after a long time.
Damn, okay, so he like took a break or some shit. Well, I'm sure he made a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I don't know. But I don't know, it's kind of fucked up. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's pretty fucking weird.
It's funny though. I mean, I
It's
don't know.
funny. Yeah. Nah, it's pretty funny.
Alright.
I wanted to ask you one thing about China before, like, we head off here. Like, have you ever been interested in, like, going to China?
Right.
Like, visiting there? Like, maybe, like, a vacation, travel there? Or if you had
Like,
no interest?
There are countries that I want to go to that I can't go to right now because of other things. Like, I want to go to Iraq, right?
Okay.
I want to go to Iraq. I want to go to Georgia. I want to go to Russia. Like, Russia I can go to, right?
Yeah.
I want to go to Iran. I want to go to India. All those countries I don't want to go to now. Because, you know, there's just things I don't like about the country and I don't want to support or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same about China. And I think Chinese people, I don't hate any people.
Yeah.
Right? I don't hate any people in general. Like, I think people have this problem where they'll like hate Iranians. You have way more in common with Iranian people than you have with like the people who are controlling your country, like than you have with your government, right?
Yeah.
Your government, like, if you meet an Iranian person right now, they'll be super fucking nice to you, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, people in the government are doing. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a government hater, you know, but like,
Yeah.
they're not like they aren't in your interest. Like, I think there's way more similarities to an Iranian citizen than there is to the person in your government, and that means that an American person isn't what their government does, and an Iranian person is what their government does, right? And that and whatever a government does also influences what people in the country do, right? Like, I think the same about China. I like China,
Yeah.
but I don't like China, the government, right?
Yeah, the government. Yeah. Right.
So I like Chinese people.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to go to China because
of
first
the
of all-
government. Yeah.
first of all, I don't want to support it. But second of all, China's kind of a fucking monkey W place to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. what you mean.
Like I don't know. I mean, also just like the whole, well, everything, but also the what are they called in Xinjiang province, what are they called again? I forgot. The Wakers. Like, it's kind of fucking.
Yeah.
I saw this documentary on Vice about it, and she like goes up to this kid, and she's asked this kid, right? Because no one will talk about it, but this kid would, right? Because she just know better. And the school she was in, every single person in that school who were Uyghur were their parents were in those camps, right? So they would literally stay because they were like checking out these schools, and they were like, "All right, so no one leaves the school, no one goes to the school, so the kids are staying at the schools 24/7
What the fuck?
because their fucking parents were sent in the fucking centers, and now all these kids are growing up, and they're growing up not in not in a Muslim way like Central Asian household,
Yeah.
which is the people that live there, but they grow up in like a Han Chinese, like to be Han Chinese, even though they aren't, right? And their parents aren't,
Yeah.
and to be, to at least not be Muslim, and yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, that's.
So,
I see. That's okay. That's how it works, kind of.
and there's the whole Hong Kong thing as well. I mean, there's a lot of things,
There's a Hong Kong, Taiwan. Yeah. There's a lot.
But I don't want to be the type of person that like. I mean, here's the thing. There's also so much shit that like the West does that's also horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's about it. It's like a worse. Like it's fucking like it's Trump versus Hillary Clinton, dude. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, which ghoul do I want? You know, like
Right. Exactly.
you have to choose. And I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
choose. Yeah.
You got to choose the one that's a
At
little
least
better.
the one that has like a democracy, even though I mean, okay, let's not get into a critique of liberal democracy. I mean, I can.
Yeah.
It's a fucking Korean podcast. It's not a social, political, analytical podcast.
Yeah. We'll make a separate channel for that, guys.
Right. Yeah.
Well.
We'll make one that's pro China and one that's pro West, and then we'll make double bank.
That's how we'll do it. That's how it's gonna be
There's the
done.
problem with the internet is people will make content that supports anyone's views because there's money in it.
Yeah, they're like, hey, I support this. I support this side too. Money now.
Have you seen like the MAGA Indians?
I have not really.
There's like people in India, like Indian people, that make videos that are like,
MAGA.
Donald Trump has won the election, and on inauguration, he is going to be the next president. Listen, guys, I am promising this with my whole heart, okay? I am promising you, Donald Trump is the next president because Q has told us, okay? Q has told me. God has told me. Sure, I am not Christian, but let's not talk about that. God came to me. He told me, oh, Donald Trump, I don't know why all of a sudden I am Russian. Okay, now I'm a Russian person living in India. All right, I'm living in India. And God came to me and he told me, it is Donald Trump will be the president. And Q was told it as well. Like, there are literally people in India. I know it wasn't Indian at the end, but there are people in India that make these videos just in order to like make money. And think about it. If you get 80K videos on every video, you upload a new video 2 times a week, and you're living in India, that is a full-time job. And they only need 80K idiots to fucking do it. And they already been radicalized. All you need to do is just like confirm everything they say.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's going to be people making that content because there's money in it. Like,
It's money. It's all what it's what it boils down to.
it's horrible.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know. I was not aware about that, but that is.
No,
a thing.
it's hard. It's oh my god. That was when my mom was like browsing Facebook. I was like, Mom, don't do that. Please
Don't do this,
browse
Mom.
Facebook.
Please, Mom, don't go there.
Please. And she's like watching random videos. I'm like, oh no, what's happening?
Here it goes. Here we go.
Yeah.
Well,
Everything.
I think this podcast is very fun. Podcast number 3. Everyone, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was fun.
it's been a fun
We
time.
talked about a lot of shit. that
Yeah,
wasn't-
we went from Korean to
mostly Korean.
It was a big Korean one.
Right.
Guys, if you have any like suggestions for like a topic next week, I mean, we could do it next week if you want. I mean, We can make this a weekly
yeah,
thing.
I'm
We
up
are
for that.
2 weeks in a row now. Like we are going solid.
Yeah. Although actually, this is gonna be the shortest one, just so you know.
Really? An
Because
hour
we
and a
actually
half
know-
is the shortest?
First one was 1 hour and 47 minutes.
Damn. That's pretty
second
good.
second was 1 hour and 42 minutes.
This
And
is
then this is gonna be 1:35-ish,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's damn. We are pretty solid.
Oh, actually, there's probably a decent delay, so it's probably gonna but it's
Yeah.
not that big. So
Yeah.
all right. I think this is good. Maybe we should do like more prep next time and just like
Yeah.
um
I'm down.
yeah.
Yeah, we can, folks. I want more topic ideas personally. Like, I want to make every episode like a little different because, like, if I were to say, okay, Babocast number 4, episode 4, and then I just talk about Korean learning again, it's gonna get stale. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I kind of want to learn like because here's the thing, like I spoke about like Seoulma / 경기도 사투리, which is like the accent.
Yeah.
But I want to like learn like how what's like a Busan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like
Yeah.
there's like the only things that are Seoulma is literally just like to becomes tu, and ro becomes ru,
Mm-hmm.
and ko becomes ku, right? And samchun becomes samchun.
Yeah. Right.
That's literally it. Pretty much.
That's it. Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, but Busan is gonna be a lot different.
It's a lot different. I want to see the differences. Before we head off here, we did have people in the chat. Fans politics. Yeah, we were talking about politics. That was funny. We were. Shane says, "I know some of the MAGA Indians." Yes, this is an accurate description. Nice.
Not the Russian part. This is before the Russian
Yeah,
part.
before the Russian kicked in. Shane, how we doing, man? Hello. Korean, where? Papaya? Yeah, right, Finn. Podcast. Shane says, not a podcast question, but Fry, can you DM me the name of the liquor store by H Mart? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can let you know. But yes. As we're wrapping up here, folks, if you have any topic ideas, I think we are gonna try and do this next week for Babocast number 4. Any topic ideas that is kind of related to like what we like, don't say like, oh, make a podcast topic on, I don't know, RuneScape. Like I don't know anything about that. Like, so try to keep it a little relevant to what like we know, like
Korean RuneScape,
Yeah, Korean RuneScape. Now I'm in, right? But yeah, stuff like that. We're willing to hear out some suggestions, but
right.
But Jonas, do you have anything else you want to add before we head off here? Before we sign
I think
off?
we covered it all. Chinese TikTok, Indian MAGA people, Korean grammar.
Yeah, we ladies and gentlemen, we have it all. So thanks for joining us, guys. I think we're gonna sign off here. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, I'll be streaming later, boys. If you want to come in and say hi, we'll be hanging out and stuff. But yeah, until next time, guys. Thanks for coming. Peace out.
See ya.
Cards.
See ya.
Bye bye.